Legends Club. I was going through.
That's what you want. That's better than a diploma. Legends Club from Kilroy.
I told her, I paid for this. Because every night you had to go 60 straight days to Kilroy's, including Sundays.
Wow.
She has a lifetime pass, doesn't ever have to stand in line. She got this shirt with her name on the back and a bunch of other stuff. I was going through.
That's awesome.
I know. I was going through stuff the other day and I found it and I took pictures. Lee took pictures of me wearing it. She goes, "You can't wear that. You're not a legend." I go, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa.
Please.
Not only am I a legend at IU, but I paid for this shit." You know what I'm saying? Hello, Debbie. How are you?
If Lee wants to talk about legends at Syracuse or Bowling Green or someplace, that's her field of expertise.
No, this was my daughter.
Right. But
okay.
we can't talk about legends.
No, she wasn't.
In Bloomington.
No.
Oh, Laura was?
No, Laura was.
Oh, no.
Oh, God, no. No, she experienced it. She got in freed all kind of stuff. And LD is like, well, it's only for legends. Hey, Kent, I want to say something here.
Yeah.
I have never, ever walked around claiming to have shut down Michael Jordan. In fact, when I give a speech, I had no idea why I was being brought to talk after the game with Bob Knight, Billy Packer, Gary Bender, and Steve Alford. And they asked me, "How did you do it?" And I was thinking, what'd I do? No idea why I was there. No idea. Had no idea. And Packer said, "Well, you stopped Michael Jordan." And I had no idea that I did. And I looked in the camera and I did not know what to say. I said, "Well, it just wasn't that hard." And Knight's like, "Let's get away." So there's a video. Some guy is mad. Indiana fans, I can't even have one nice moment. You can't give me one moment in my life 40 years ago? 40 years ago.
You are not one to toot your own horn, but you are one who does not mind getting paid to recount the story of that evening, perhaps.
Yes. Yo, let me tell you something. When I do a speech, that's the
capitalist.
opener. Oh, yeah, nothing wrong. Hey, look, I am not.
And it's a great story.
It's a good story. It's a mediocre story, but it starts everybody laughing.
It's a very good story in that when you found out you were and you told this story down in Bloomington when you were working for Sampson, and Sampson didn't want to talk, so he trots you up at the dinner talking about Austin Carr and 60 points. And then you vomit. And it's a great story.
It's
People
all the
rolling.
truth. It's all the truth. Well, some guy makes a video showing Jordan's 4 baskets, and it blows up. See, Doncic just brags about stopping Michael Jordan. And the only thing I'll tell you is I kicked his ass in golf. That I will tell you. But anyway, so stop it, Indiana fans. Be on my side for once. Come on.
I looked at this. People were talking about Dennis Rodman talking about Larry Bird. And a guy commented on my YouTube channel about Larry Bird being 6-0 against Jordan. So I looked it up. Where Michael Jordan, in those 6 games, averaged 38.2 points per game against the Celtics. You held him to 13.
13. 4 baskets.
And they employed Rick Carlisle. The Celtics did. You could have been Rick Carlisle.
Rick Carlisle beat us the next game. Virginia.
I'm sorry I brought that
up. When I told him we had him on the show and he brought it up, I said, "Well, you did miss a free throw with like 10 seconds to go, and I hit Stu Robinson for a jump shot to tie it and send it to overtime after I had fucked the game up with Kent Needleman, but I digress. I'll admit my mistakes." And Carlisle's like, "I didn't miss a free throw. I don't know nothing about music. I don't know nothing about art. I don't know nothing about construction. I don't know nothing about boating or swimming, but I know sports, damn it." And I remember, I got a good memory for that. So, hey, you're going to believe Billy Packer? Go back and watch the real video. You're going to believe Billy Packer or some scrub that had a transfer from Michigan? Bah!
You don't need to credential yourself to
Thank
anybody,
you.
but you shouldn't tear him down.
Don't tear me down.
Come on.
Come on. And who has stolen your Twitter account?
I don't know.
What is going on here?
Some guy, and so then some guy offered to fix it all up for $119, and I started putting 2 and 2 together, and I thought maybe this is a guy who broke it. He's going to get the $120, and then he's going to break it again, and I got to come up with another $120, and this cycle is at some point going to wear Julie Raw, and I got problems.
Well,
so to come right, if you followed me before, follow me now. It's easy to find. It's Sterling KE something. All you have to do is search Kent Sterling. And come up.
No, that's a lie. You need to know the numbers because I just did it. There are a number of Sterling KE number.
Okay, go to Dan's feed
Right now.
and you're going to see he added me.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah, I did. So don't be a fool.
It's not don't at me, definitely at me.
We need people to at Ken Sterling.
At.
I got to tell you, I'm looking at us in this picture here, and not only are we very handsome, but it is
awesome.
very, very simple to see who doesn't work very much and who does work well. I'm tan as hell. I'm thinking I look like The Rock right now. Like, I'm just tan. If I had a big tattoo right here and maybe a muscle or two, yeah. But my wife was like, "Hey, dude, you got to go to work. You're too tan. Like, you're gonna get skin something." I'm like, "Yeah, I don't care. Look at me." And look at you. You're pasty. You're clear.
Pasty.
You're clear compared to
Wow.
this. This is mocha. Right
I
here.
think it's the lighting. I think it's all the haze. The haze has caused problems. It's causing my my skin to shine unnaturally.
Well, I'm like Barbara Streisand. You know, Barbara Streisand travels, true story. Whenever she has her own lighting, that has to be set up a particular way. That's what I do. I have to have my own lighting.
Warren Beatty, same way.
Really?
Yeah.
I got to ask you,
Yeah.
because you brought it up. Look, I've been alive 60 years. You've been alive 60 years. I've never seen this, but in Northwest Indiana, in Gary, Indiana, you knew when the steel mills were cooking, because there would be, there would be a little bit of a haze where we lived. Now, 35th certainly when we grew up, and then 54th Avenue. There was always a haze. It was always a little cooler. This is unbelievable that everything is in a haze. The air quality sucks because of fires up in frickin' Canada. This is unbelievable. This cannot be safe for us.
You wouldn't think. It's like the air quality index is 274. This is the third, Indianapolis is the third least healthy air
Right now.
in the world, behind like Singapore and someplace in Saudi Arabia.
So in America,
This is it.
we are right now. Why Indy? What did we do?
We are straight down south from that raging fire. And
Well, I
it
knew the
channeled,
fire.
like right down, I guess, Lake Michigan, right into Marion County.
Really?
Yeah, why can't the Canadians put out a fire?
Put out it.
For God's sake, do something up there. They don't do anything. All they do, they set fires. They make it hard for Americans. Mostly a benign group of people, the Canadians. But it's like, if you can't make fun of Canada, we make fun of Kentucky. If we can't make fun of Kentucky, we'll make fun of Canada.
You drink all that Molson, just go up there, get a bunch of guys, and just start peeing. That fire will go out soon. That's how Jared and I ended a fire the other day. I'm like, we're going to pee on it.
The level of problem solving people have come to expect. That's why you should be the Prime Minister of Canada. Screw Mayor of Indianapolis. You're the new Prime Minister of Canada.
Oh, real men are outside as we speak. That's what a guy says. Yeah, I'm going to get black lung disease from walking outside. All right, I got to ask you a question.
Yeah.
Do you like the Pacers draft? I mean, is there anything, I want to go back to it. Is there anything about the Pacers draft? Is there anything about the Colts as we sit here towards the end of June and we're heading towards, camp for football? Actually, basketball camp opens like in September. Is there anything about either's team, the build up the roster, that has you excited? Excited?
No. But that's okay.
Okay.
Like, I don't need to be excited on June 28th. That's okay. Jarvis Walker, we talked about him. You talked about him on a previous show.
Yeah.
Nice player, athletic, big.
Yeah.
I don't know whether he can play.
No.
The Shepherd kid from Belmont. The one thing I know about people from Belmont is that they can shoot.
They can shoot.
I like shooters. I like speed in football. I like shooters in basketball. You can't have football players without speed. You can't have basketball players who can't shoot.
Oh, man.
It's that easy.
I will say this about the Shepherd kid from Belmont. I went to the Belmont Illinois State game at Illinois State. And Illinois State beat them. And I was a little bit surprised by it. And I think this was the kid. I think Shepherd was a kid that I'm like, yeah, he's pretty good. And Andrew said, yeah, he's going to be a draft choice. And I watched the game, and I'm like, yeah, I didn't differentiate him.
Really?
Yeah, but you don't have to, because in the NBA, you got to have a certain skill. And his skill is he can shoot the ball. But I would have, it was the same thing when Goga, when I did a game of Gogas against Kentucky. And I'm like, why are all these NBA scouts here? And there's no way, no chance anybody could have ever said that Goga Batadze would have been a first-round draft choice based on the 3 games that they played. He played 2. He got hurt in our game. So I think he played 1 previous, and then he played Kentucky. There's no chance you could have said that. So, but the NBA is just different. You know, they draft 18-year-olds hoping that at 21 they're going to become Devin Booker. So I don't know, but I do know I was going back through it. And I asked Andrew, I go, did Shepard do anything? He goes, Dad, I really don't even remember. I just remember that a bad team that last year was Illinois State, and they beat. When they walked out onto the court, you're like, okay, that team should win by 20. And that team was Belmont against that team. So yeah. I don't know what to make of it. But if he can shoot it and he has a spot, good. Make him the stretch 4 and let I've told you this before, let Miles Turner go on the damn block. And figure it out.
Do you invest in a free agent? I look at the free agents and I say, okay, how many are these guys?
Who would be your guy
as a free agent?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's the problem.
None really. Kyle Kuzma, but hey,
you're going to pay a lot of money for just above mediocre.
And I don't like guys who spend that much attention getting dressed.
Yes.
Just wear your clothes and go play basketball. I don't like the branding crap.
He was, this is so bad. When I was doing the TBT, they're sponsored by Puma, and Kuzma was going to be their sponsor, their guy. And he did a commercial, and I said this on the air. Hey guys, this is Kuz, blah, 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 Puma. And I didn't mean to do this, but I asked the guy I was working with, hey, who's Kuz? Like, it shot down the entire sponsorship. So this guy apparently thought that we were all supposed to know Kuz. Now, here's the deal, and this is something that I find fascinating. Decent players on bad teams get a lot of interest. Like Bradley Beal was the hot trade guy, and they were horrible. Kuzma was on the same team, and they were horrible. I mean, the guy for West Virginia, Mitchell, they were horrible. Haven't made the tournament in 2 years. He goes to Kentucky, and Kentucky fans are hitting me up like, hey, this is the piece. I'm like, he averaged 11 points. I keep spitting on you. He averaged 11 points on a team that, didn't make the tournament 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
I like really good players that come from really well-coached good teams that are humble.
Hey, you know what? How often do we do that at Indiana? Like Khalil Ware. I don't know whether he can play. He didn't play very well at Oregon. Something bad happened at Oregon. He left Oregon, or Oregon left him. Now he's coming to IU, and he's going to lead us to a 6th title. I don't understand that line of thinking. That logic just defies common sense.
Is there a kid on Indiana's team named Gunn?
Yes, C.J. Gunn.
Did he play?
Not much. He's from Lawrence North, good shooter.
His dad, Christopher Gunn, comes at me on Twitter. That's bad business. That's just, I will say this to any Indiana, and it was over that Michael Jordan video the guy had. Well, anytime Doncic gets exposed, I'm like, hey, look, your son I knew who Gunn was. He didn't even get in a freaking game, much less, and the dad is coming at me. And I'm like, it's just, we know how certain things end. Gabe Cupps is the new social media guy. We know how this ends. I've said this since Bobby Capabianco. Yeah. And his mother was all over the message board, all over Twitter. Oh, my God. Nogel Eastern at Purdue's mother was all over. It doesn't end well.
No.
Just
stay off.
Yes.
Listen to us. And we're really serious. Stay off social media. Parents on social media, death to the kid. Don't do anything that your kid's going to have to answer for. And everything you do on social media, your kid's going to have to answer for. So from people whose business it is to communicate like that, do not get in a cage match with him about basketball.
Of anybody.
Don't do it.
Nobody. Like, look, Kent's son played Division I basketball. My son played Division I basketball. We're both on social media, and we were on social media then, but not about our kids. Not about their team. Not about nobody can ever say that I said a word on social media about Michigan, Ohio State, other than, hey, I've got the Ohio State game tonight. Tune in with me and Dave Fleming. Never do you. It's not even about getting in a cage match. It just doesn't end well. It shows you to be an overbearing parent that has an entitled child. I remember Capobianco's mother. Oh my God, she's on the message boards. He's the greatest.
And I'm going to put a stop to something else.
Please.
Don't wear your kid's jersey.
Oh God.
Don't wear your kid's number. Don't let people know you're the parent of whatever kid you're the parent of there. You can be proud of your kid 22 hours of that day and 24 hours a day of every other day, but do not wear your kid's jersey to Assembly Hall or any place where your kid's playing, including AAU tournaments. Just stop it.
It just doesn't. It just exposes your whole deal as dumb, entitled. And I swear to you, I remember Tamar Bates' parents. I told you with Tamar Bates' video of him walking in all entitled to the weight room while guys are busting their ass and he's acting like the king of Indiana and he never played a drop. And then his parents were on social media. Just don't. Like, here's how I always looked at it, okay?
Yeah.
I always looked at it as this is my son's time.
Right.
My son's time is my son's time. And look, maybe you did. I know you didn't, so I'm not going to say maybe you did. But all these parents have these. They envision we got this opportunity. We're going to build a brand, and we're going to do this and that. Let me ask you, and Cooper Kupp or whatever, Wheeler Kupp, whatever his name is, he built his brand, and I had and that effing idiot Miller Kupp wearing his headband. That's just the kid's a nice kid, and he had a nice. But just I'm imploring you, all of you. And just it's your kid's time. It's his time. And it's your time as the kid to be a basketball player.
Right.
Like it's not your time. Like go out, do what Trace Jackson Davis did. Go out, be a great player. You got car deals and all that shit from being a great player. You're going to get drafted. You end up getting drafted by the best possible team that he could get drafted by because they're adults at that place and they respect adults, and they're going to get rid of Draymond Green. My people in the NBA tell me they're so happy Draymond Green didn't exercise his
really?
Yes. Now Kerr, but everybody else in the organization is like, this is just a pain in the ass that's going this way while others aren't having a pain in the ass. It's the same reason that the Boston Celtics got rid of Marcus Smart. You don't need a guy like that. If the guy's getting 40, fine. All right? That's fine.
And the Nuggets had nobody like that.
No, Milwaukee Bucks, when they won it with Middleton and those guys, they had nobody like that.
Because Antetokounmpo's not drama. No. Jokic, not drama.
Say whatever you want about LeBron James, but that dude is no drama, no brand on court. I'm not saying he blah 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 blah. But all these guys that win, they're like Trace Jackson Davis. I mean, they really are. Now, Trace isn't quite to their level as a player yet. Maybe he'll get to, but beat Yogi Ferrell. Yogi's mommy was on it all the time, fine, early, and then she realized, I'm going to just shut the hell up and let Yogi be Yogi.
Yeah.
And Yogi became a great leader and ended up 2 feet tall in the NBA. I mean,
get off the hamster wheel. It never ends. The things that annoy you will never end. When Loyola played Purdue and Ryan was a freshman, and there are kids about 8 rows, these Purdue guys behind Julie and I, and we're right across from the bench. And we're way low. That's where they put the visitors. And kids are and Ryan isn't playing, but kids, hey, Sterling, blah, 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 blah. And Julie's like this. Julie's going. Yeah. And don't do that. I was like, sit your ass down. Don't draw attention to any of this. Don't let anybody know who we are. And this will all pass, and they'll get tired of it, and they'll move on. If you draw attention to this, they're going to keep coming with the hammer, and we're going to have a problem.
Yeah, it's simple. Yeah, it's not easy, but it's adult.
You want to fight for your kid.
Right, but just let him handle it.
Yeah.
Like, I'll give my dad credit. My mother told me that my dad only got red-faced or said something to somebody one time, and it was in the Gary Regional. I'd missed a couple shots, and this guy's dad, who was my 7-year-old coach, he was a coach of me in Little League, said, "I'll pass the ball, Dockage." And then I scored like 4 or 5 in a row. And my dad looked at him, said, "Hey, Al." And he turned away. And my
Yeah.
mother said that, and nobody has. If anybody ever says they have a story of me saying anything, anytime at a game of my sons or a dance recital of my daughters, they are freaking liars.
And it's time. It's their time.
It's their
they
time.
get to do what they do.
It
It's
is.
not our time. Let them do what they do. And my advice, and I know this flies in the face of NIL, but my advice is and it's hard for a basketball player because you guys are really
Sure.
tall. The less you're recognized, the less you're known, the better you're living. So don't do that. Don't draw attention to yourself. Let your game do it. And when you're out, you did a great job of this when you were a player and when you were a coach. You just have little idle chit chat moments with people. You say hello.
Yep.
They have a positive memory. You move on with
move
your
on.
night, and that is just it. Don't do anything
No.
more than that.
No, be nice to everybody. My brother gave me a good piece of advice a year ago when Doyle wrote, he goes, just imagine every moment of your life is on film from now on. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
right.
well, I mean, I pee a lot outside. And I'm hoping,
These people who live over there,
yeah,
they don't
I
have
know,
some
yeah.
kind of camera.
Well, I mean, if you can't see now because of the fog. All right, let's get to some Colts.
All right.
Here's the deal.
Yeah.
AR-15,
Yes.
AR-6.5, whatever. Somebody asked me to ask you this,
Yeah.
because I don't know the answer. Is he at the Colts complex, Anthony Richardson, every day? Like, you can't, I mean, I know there are rules, but is he there every day? Is there a summer program that he is on with the Colts? Or is he, with a quarterback coach somewhere in California or in Florida?
They're in Florida.
He's in
in Florida with Minshew. They
All right.
work out with the same guy. So they brought down receivers for the Colts. And I'm not sure whether Richardson put it together or Minshew put it together, but I don't know whether they're still down there, but they were going to take a week off and then go to work with the receivers down in Florida with the quarterback's coach that they share, the trainer guy.
All right, I always tell you there's always a backstory, and I guarantee you this. Now that you look at it, wouldn't you agree? By getting Minshew, they kind of guaranteed that they were taking Anthony Richardson, given how they apparently have connected. I mean, there's always a things don't happen in a vacuum.
And that they hired Steichen. Everything led to them taking Richardson.
Yeah.
I think it was all writing on the wall.
Because you don't need a veteran in there, regardless of whether you're bringing in Levis or Young or whomever. You can't have a veteran quarterback in there that's being a pain in the ass.
Right, who's trying to get that job.
Yeah, you got to have
that.
somebody that understands their role, embraces their role, and is all about service to that role.
And Steichen saw that in Philadelphia with Minshew and Hurts. So, he knows how it works. He could have that conversation with him. They've got that relationship. Hey, Gardner, come on over here for $2.5 million.
This is what we're going to do.
Right, this is your role.
Yeah.
This is his role. They already know who the starter's going to be on September 10th.
No, that's right.
And it isn't going to be Minshew.
No, but that's to me, how do I put this right? That kind of thinking to me is what the Colts have been lacking. You're not hoping, you're knowing before you get into this that this guy here is going to help this guy over here. I always thought the Colts before this said, all right, we're going to get Matt Ryan in here, and then whoever else is behind him, fine. Well, again, people talk about the quarterback room or the lineman room. Well, what does that mean? That means you literally go into a room with a coach and you interact for hours upon hours upon hours.
Yeah.
And as anybody knows, whether it's a marriage or a team or a business relationship, even you and me, if you and I didn't just have a blast talking off air, on air, neither of us would do this.
No.
No chance.
No,
No.
and that's a good thing that you can take away from this too. If you don't enjoy what you're doing, don't do it. Do what you enjoy, always and forever. And at the very least, even if you're not good at it, you're going to have a good time. And in the end, why is that bad?
Right.
Don't be miserable and wealthy. That's just
God.
stupid.
No, it's like being wealthy and unhealthy. Like
Yeah,
it doesn't do
right.
anything for you.
Right.
Like people always say, well, I'd rather be healthy, wealthy. I don't care about my health. Really? Wait till you get a freaking real cold or real sick, and you're like, man, it doesn't really matter that I got a nice house, nice pool, nice. If I'm not healthy, it's just, and that's the way it is. So I want to believe, and because I've been thinking about the Colts, I want to believe that this setup is a look beyond your nose setup, not a Band-Aid setup.
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that Ballard and Irsay had a conversation. I bet it happened even before last season ended. All right, where are we going? We can't go year by year and have 12-month plans. We got to have a
No.
3-year plan, a 5-year plan. That's how you win championships. Let's go about that business. Don't worry. 4-12-1, you're not going to get fired. Let's get somebody in here we can build around, figure this shit out once and for all. And I think that that's what they're doing. And that's why I think that Ballard's seat is not hot, because they're not going about their business like it is. You don't trade Stephon Gilmore if you want to win in 2023. You just don't do that. That makes no sense. They didn't know that Rodgers was going to get dinged for the gambling. That kind of corrupts things. But that 12-person draft class, you don't have a 12-person draft class if you're about winning right now. Now, maybe they do, and maybe they go like 11-5 like the Colts did in 12.
Right.
Maybe. But, the odds are pretty significant. It's not going to happen.
I heard what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's June.
You're
What
right.
happens in the middle of October when this operation is 0-5, 1-4, whatever?
Yeah.
Now, it's June.
Yeah.
Those are your words.
Yeah. We're good and circumspect in June. Yeah.
All right, all of a sudden,
Yeah.
who's on here? Otter Creek,
so's
Spook
Jimmy.
Shield, Joe, Jimmy, Gritty. All right. Everybody's probably going, yeah, that makes sense until they're 1-4. And we're going to do like 2 shows a week, I think, once
Yeah.
it gets going. And we're going to be talking about this going, yeah, oh, okay, Otter Creek, you're right. And by the way, I got you playing with my boy Kevin Custer. Kent can't play. He's got a show. What are you talking
do.
about? Yeah, what? He's working.
We're going to light the torches on 56th Street and march on the Colts complex if they're 1-4. But right now, we're very chill.
And we're going to
about the
play
whole
this
thing.
back. Nobody's on the hot seat. Nobody's on the
It's
hot
all
seat.
good.
They got it all figured out. You know what I mean? All right. Yeah, I always say this, man. The NFL, and you know this. That's why every radio station, every radio show in the country on Mondays has Overreaction Monday. That's
Right.
like a cliche,
Right.
Because we do. There's 17 games. Of course, we're going to overreact. What, are we nuts? We have to.
Well, and now people are like, oh, you're way too positive. Well, when are you going to be in June?
No, you said that, and I agree with that.
It's June. I'm not going to ruin my day thinking about. Or you're way too subjective in your evaluation of Anthony Richardson.
People think
There's nothing to be objective about. We have no numbers.
Right.
We've never seen him play in the NFL. It's all subjective. Of course it is.
Let's clear something up about you right now.
Yeah.
Are you firmly in the front seat driving the Anthony Richardson train like so many people on this show and others I've seen say that you are?
I'm telling you, you watch him. You'll go to camp and
Yes
you
or
watch
no
that
answer?
dude. Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. That dude is different. That dude's different in a way that obviously most people aren't different. He is unique. When he moves, he glides. When he cuts, he glides and accelerates like stunningly quickly. He gets on top of the ball and spins it great, and when he throws it great, oh, it's gorgeous.
Okay.
He is, if he can process, and if Steichen keeps it simple enough for him but complicated enough to confuse defenses a little bit, shit, that kid is absolutely the monster everybody says he might be. He like put together. You can't judge everything by the way dudes deal with the media.
But he's good.
He's not overconfident. He's not arrogant. He's not awed by it. Like the thing, and this terrible direction to go. I apologize in advance to Indiana football fans. Tom Allen is the least adept guy with the media, whether he can coach football or not. He seems very nervous and kind of peripatetic and, and you think, God almighty, just calm down and talk. Anthony Richardson is calm. He talks. He's funny. He's not nervous about it. He has no anxiety about it. Every box that you could check to this point, he checks twice. He is really good.
Guy says one big brain. I went 3-4 with, he said Davis's team. It was Sampson's team. But I'm sorry, but it is one big brain. I'm just along for the ride. You shitting me? I love the comment section. Yeah, rip away.
We're today combined. We are a 15 and 7/8.
Oh, yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
15 and 3/4. We got the big brains.
And if you don't think there's a big brain in there, I can't help you. But I want to go back. I want to go back to something. Okay.
It's not intestines up here, for God's sake. Look at this melon.
I am going to do this, and I'm going to demand that any time I am in front of a camera, that we evaluate Richardson for Richardson. Not if they won or lost. No,
Okay.
not if they lost. Not,
All right.
you know, because so many times people just say this. Well, he can't win a game. Well, wait a second. He threw 3 touchdown passes, ran for 4 first downs. The defense couldn't get a stop. And guess what? They fumbled on the 3-yard line twice. Well, that's not Richardson's fault. So I am going to do this. I'm going to study him. And every show that I'm on, I'm going to give you a honest evaluation of him, not just the easy they lost so he sucks.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Because you have to do that. I am so tired of watching people use the lazy narrative of, well, that guy can't play because they lost a game. Like, no, in this situation, now, don't get me wrong. I think the whole, like the GM is responsible, I think, in more ways than any individual player for whether you win or not. Maybe other than quarterback. I do, because you have to have a culture and a locker room that says winning. But in his first year, with this particular set of skills that he has and the improvement that he needs to make, I think it's very unfair in this year with this kid to say, like, you know, okay, well, they lost, so he sucks. Unless he sucks and they lost. That would be the one thing I would say.
And we better remember how everybody treated Peyton Manning in '98
Sure.
when they went 3-13 and he set the record for interceptions. People were very patient with
Right.
Peyton Manning, knowing what he was going to be. I hope that Anthony Richardson kind of gets that same treatment
Different
from
world,
people
bro.
here. It's a much
different world, bro.
It's too bad.
There, you know, Peyton Manning came up at a time when a rookie got a pass because most people felt like rookies should be sitting a year.
Right.
Or 2.
Right.
Now you come out early, you're the 4th pick. I don't give a damn. Or the first pick. If Peyton Manning came out and he was the first pick, you and I both know it would be insanity with him and what he did not do as a rookie.
You want to know what Archie did that was so smart with Peyton in 1998? Tom Severino, who's our boss at Emmis, who do I talk to get to get Peyton to do a morning show hit?
Oh, I remember this. Yeah.
So he winds up on the phone with Archie and he says, yeah, we want to pay him, I think it was $40,000 to do a call every Monday morning. And Archie said, we're not doing commercials. We're not doing phone calls. We're doing no media other than what's mandated while Peyton figures out who he is as a person in the NFL. That's what you do. That's what you should do when you're in college, to your earlier point. That's what you should do in the NFL. Don't hurry to Baker Mayfield. Hurried to the cash register.
Oh, Robert
Where's
Griffin.
Baker? Absolutely.
Robert Griffin.
Where are those guys at?
I tell you who else, and he had a great career, and somehow he made the Hall of Fame. But in the NBA, Tracy McGrady's the poster child for that.
Yep.
Isaiah was smart, and the reason Isaiah did it, because he drafted McGrady. He was starting a franchise in the Toronto Raptors. He and John who was an IU grad, hired Isaiah, build a team. So they draft McGrady. They knew that he was going to be a big-time brand because they had to get basketball going in Toronto.
Right.
So McGrady was the first guy, Kent, that I saw that cashed in on national stuff before he did anything. Like,
Yeah.
you know, we watched Bird and we watched Magic. We watched Bird, we watched Magic. Hold on. And they had already a brand from playing, and then they came in, and then the Converse commercials came. Isaiah,
Right.
same thing. So I'm so with you on that. I really and truly am with you on that. I just think it's you do it how, if you want to be a respected guy as a player, you do it how a guy like Trace Jackson Davis did it. You just come out there, you ball your ass off, you get better every year, you talk about God, you do all that stuff, and you know what? When you got enough talent, it's going to work out for you as opposed to chasing the money. So here's my question to you. All right? College basketball has 2 guys that have openly said, now one of them may have violated it, Izzo and Calipari, that openly said we are not going to buy players. Now, you don't believe that. We talked about that last time. But they haven't. Izzo has not, and Calipari has not.
When did Calipari stop buying players? When did that process end at Kentucky.
2 years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
When it became legal, they took their foot off the gas and said, no more money for anybody.
No. Kentucky, no. Here's the deal with Kentucky most times. Kentucky has been known, like Roy Williams and Dean Smith. Everybody knew that they took care of players when they were there. Kentucky took care of players when they were there. By boosters, and you'd go out to the racetrack. I think I told you this. You go out to the racetrack with a booster, and he would hand you, let's say there's 6 horses at Keeneland in a race. He would give you $100 on each horse in the race. So if the 20-to-1 shot won, you got 20 times the money. If a 2-to-1 shot, that's how you cheated at Kentucky, and they did it when you were there, and they did it in the recruiting trip. But I'm just telling you, I'm fascinated by this because it's a sound theory to me, because I wonder how many guys that literally say, okay, I'm going to go to Indiana, or I'm going to go to Illinois, or I'm going to go to Michigan. Highest bidder gets me.
Yeah.
I wonder how many guys are going to be successful.
Oh, I don't think any of those.
But they're all good players. They're all good enough players they're all good enough to get a deal. Like Hunter Dickinson said going to Kansas, he goes, look, I got a raise. I got NIL money. He goes, any one of you out there that got a $10,000 a year raise would change jobs. He goes, that's what I did.
How many guys at Illinois, when Illinois was paying guys in like late 80s, early 90s, how many of those guys succeeded in the league?
Nick Anderson.
Well, yeah, right.
But
Kendall
not,
Gill.
Kendall had a long career. Kendall Gill, I love. I used to hang with him on Saturdays at Big Ten Network, and he was known as the guy. If Kendall Gill's having a party, he's an incredibly good-looking guy, smart, funny as hell, boxer. Don't mess with Kendall Gill.
Really?
Oh God, yeah. Boxed. I think he had some professional bouts. He invited me to one, and I'm like, yeah, I got to go home. Whatever. But anyway. So Kendall Gill, when he had the party, the best-looking women in the NBA went to Kendall Gill's party. Some of them may have been pros. Some of them may have been, pole dance.
We
but
don't
they
judge.
were no. We just go to the party, hold our red Solo cup, and go, "What's up, baby?" But no, you're right. Marcus Liberty came in. He was the number 1 recruit in the country.
Yeah.
Never pissed a drop.
What second round to the Nuggets, whatever it was?
Yeah, I think he did. Kenny Battle, people talk about.
Deion Thomas was a huge recruit, right?
Huge.
Really nice guy.
Best guy ever.
Yeah.
Don't disparage Deion Thomas ever, any of you people. We had to double team him. He was a bitch to play against, and he's America's nicest dude, not named LaFonso Ellis. How about that? But no, you're right. So you're getting paid. That's why I tell people, like I'm hearing Coach Knight's health is really failing.
Yeah.
I heard that. I'm on a text with Keith Smart and Alfred. I think I said this last week, and I'm hearing it's getting worse. But I will contend that it's the best basketball coach ever in NCAA basketball. And I've said this jokingly, but I mean it. He got to the Elite Eight with guys like me. He won a national championship with a guy like Alfred. Now, no disrespect to anybody, but he built within a culture, a guy like Alfred could win a national championship. And he won a national championship when he had the best teams. When he had the best teams, he went undefeated. When he had the best teams with Isaiah, they ran through the tournament like nobody else has.
It was awesome.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. Starting with Albert King and Ernest Graham and Buck Williams and Rick Manning and all, not Rick Manning, the other man, Greg Manning. No, I contend he didn't need the best players. These guys need to buy the best players. Sorry, go ahead.
What he did for at least a year that I watched, he would do on his pregame on TV. He would say, here's how we're going to attack Iowa tonight. Here's what we're going to do. Here's how we're going to defend these guys. They like Jepson out top. So we're going to sag everybody back. We don't know what they're doing. Why they're choosing to go 4-on-5, I don't understand. But and he's got like a grease board, and he's laying out exactly what they're going to do. Guys don't even like cameras in their huddles during a timeout.
No.
Knight, for a half an hour before a game, is telling you exactly how they're going to beat an opponent. It was awesome. It was the most arrogant coaching thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, and he did it every week.
Yep.
He did it every week, and he did it prior or, to the game. He didn't do it after the game. Here's how we went about it. This is why you saw Calvert. He did it before. It's like calling your shot, right?
Yeah, right.
Now, did it always work? No, we can go undefeated.
We're going to beat your ass, and here's how we're going to do it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. And you know what? I'll say something else. Fear worked. Fear worked. You say it didn't. Hey, everybody, you feared for your job. You knew if you didn't play, you weren't playing.
You got to have the right guys to get them to fear for their job. And that's that the cycle that Indiana had,
Yeah.
where you've got guys like Funderburk who show up and say they want discipline, and then all of a sudden it comes to them, and well, maybe not, But you've got to get the guys who respond well to that kind of vibe, because there are guys, there are guys who don't.
Oh, God, no. And you know what? In this day and age, you can talk your way through things. And one of the things that I liked, what we did as a coach at Bowling Green, and what I took from Coach Knight, was you're not going to be able to talk your way through this. We're going to call you on your talk. We're going to say, okay, we laid it out for you who we were recruiting. We told you exactly how it was going to be. It wasn't like, oh, man, I got here, and all of a sudden he's swearing at me. No. I was swearing at you in our meeting. I went to Lenny Matella, my best big guy that we had, and before he even came to Bowling Green, because he had acted like a fool. He went to my high school and he walked off the court early in the game. I had his mom and his dad crying at their kitchen table, saying, I don't know who the fuck you think you're playing for, but that's never going to have you embarrass me at my school, blah, 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 blah. So you lay it out, you don't fool them, and then guys get exposed.
Yeah.
They either, like you said, but the world we live in today, people just talk.
Nobody is ever coddled to greatness.
That's a great point.
Ever.
That's a great point.
Ever.
Oh, that's so good. All right, let me go to another thing with the Colts. Yeah. We talk about this all of the time. So I'm going to ask you, if you were the Colts and you really only have very few players, I was thinking about this too, because we always talk about Jonathan Taylor. Would you extend him? I was thinking about this. Yes, who just came out and said playing running back, Melvin Gordon is the worst job in the NFL. It sucks. It's underappreciated. It's underpaid. But the Colts don't have,
go balance some company's
that's
books.
Exactly right.
Are you out of your mind?
Yeah, you nuts. Go do what my uncle did. Work 41 years in a freaking steel mill every day, and you're making it's a $10 million franchise tag for a running back. Take that Wisconsin degree, take it for a spin, and see how much you're making. You know what I mean? It's like, take that bad. I always tell Lee, you're a valedictorian. You're first in your class at Toledo. Let's take that bad boy for a spin and see if you can make as much as you can playing softball coach. You can't. Take that out for a spin, Melvin. Dumbass. But anyway, does in certain ways, because every team is different.
Yeah.
Does in certain ways Jonathan Taylor have to be extended, have to be kept on?
No.
No?
Why?
What do you got?
You don't have to, so why?
What do you got? I'm not talking about right now. I'm talking about when his contract comes up.
You got 3 years. You've got this year where he's under contract. Next year, you franchise him at 10.1, and then do it again. And all of a sudden, he's 6 years in.
Yeah,
he's had some kind of injury, that, although it's not like something that necessarily is going to
Let me rephrase this.
Yeah.
Based on the way Jimmy Irsay seems to reward players, do you think he is going to give him a contract?
I think maybe he does, just like be able to take the moral high ground against the Giants and the Vikings who let Dalvin Cook go. Maybe he does it for that reason, so he can say, look, I'm a really nice guy. This is the weirdest thing about that whole question, is because I talk about this way too much, but people seem to be interested, so I'll talk about it. And they keep coming back and saying, you've got to pay him. He's earned it. He deserves it. It's as though they're campaigning. They believe that somehow Jonathan Taylor is the football equivalent of them.
Right.
And that Jonathan needs to be taken good care of because I'm not, and I get to see this guy. It doesn't make any sense to me at all. No. What do you care? What do I care whether he makes 10.1 million, 12 million, 15 million? It doesn't make any difference to me. What, is he going to pick up a check if I see him in a restaurant?
I don't think so.
Is he going to pay off my mortgage? No. It has no bearing on my life at all, but it does have a bearing on the Colts in that they've got a certain amount of money under the cap, and the more they spend on Taylor, the less they're going to be able to spend on his safety.
See, I get a kick out of he deserves it. I will say, if he wasn't paid, then he deserves to be paid. If he wasn't paid market value, which he was because in the rookie contract, they tell you what you're going to pay. Okay, but he had a contract that paid him way too much money in terms of how regular people act. He was fine, great, whatever. All right, but he doesn't deserve any more than he's already getting.
Deserves got nothing to do with
Nothing to do. That's a bit. I could have said that. Yeah, that deserved my ass.
it. Watch a Clint Eastwood movie and listen to Clint Eastwood talk, and then you know about life a little, or The Godfather. But you got a guy at a position where they run out of gas at about age 27.
There's a big study on that. We've talked about it.
Yeah. I mean, Ezekiel Elliott doesn't have a job. Dalvin Cook doesn't have a job. Saquon Barkley is talking about sitting out, which would be the most incomprehensibly dumb thing that he could possibly do. He's got a good agent. It's not going to happen. You've got to figure. July 17th,
Saquon?
they've got. What are you doing? Take the
that-
$10 million.
That's $1 million. That's damn near $1 million a month.
That's crazy.
Take that Penn State degree. Take that bad boy for a swing.
Yeah.
I looked
Right.
it up one time, and this isn't including stock options or bonuses, but the CEO, this is about 5-6 years ago when I was doing the show, the CEO of Eli Lilly was making like $6-7 million.
Yeah.
And you're sitting there as a running back. Oh my God, I get to catch a pass. I got to block. I got to run. Oh yeah, $10 million. Child, please. I mean, I don't want to hear any of that. I just don't. I'm sorry. And you're right. Saquon Barkley, if he sits out, then what do you? I'll tell you what you're going to accomplish. You know the name Wally Pipp.
Yeah,
You may get
right.
Wally Pipp at a position that nobody really cares about. Name me the last guy. This would be interesting because Zeke Elliott brought this, and I just thought of this. Has there been a running back in your mind lately that signed a big deal that overachieved the big deal?
No.
Right?
Right.
Right. Zeke Elliott certainly hasn't.
Nope. And Derrick Henry hasn't.
I don't think. What's that guy Leonard Fournette?
Yeah, he's still out of work.
I mean, and he was okay.
Yeah.
When Tom Brady signed with them, he said, "I'm just as important to the success of this team as Tom Brady." Like, okay, Leonard Fournette.
See how that works out for you.
God bless you. But seriously, running back overperforming. Like I keep hearing the greatness of Christian McCaffrey. You know what I see? What I think when I see Christian McCaffrey getting injured. I'm sure I'm unfair. But Christian McCaffrey, he hardly played in Carolina. They got him over to San Francisco. He's the greatest player in the history of the world. Maybe he is. But I've never seen him have a great moment in the playoffs. I've never seen him be a quarterback-level influence in a major game, a huge game. Maybe I'm wrong.
For every player who goes somewhere else, there's a former employer. Who has decided, and Kevin Demoff told me this when he was and still is the COO of the Rams. He's like, here's how free agency works. And I was too ridiculous to know it at the time. He's like, they're coming from somewhere else. Why are they coming from somewhere else? Why did that employer decide not to have them re-sign with them? You got to find the answer to that question before you even entertain the notion of signing a guy.
7,000%.
Yeah.
And that's where I feel like the Colts have not done that. Like, hell, Mike Lombardi on my show told me about Ngakoue. He goes, you watch. He goes, I see your media is bumping up that Yannick Ngakoue. He goes, watch this. Watch how many times he gives this great-looking effort and runs right past the quarterback.
Yeah.
And I couldn't stop watching.
Yeah.
And then he'd get a sack, and somebody, see, Dawkins, we told you. Well, guess who's unsigned?
Yeah.
Guys, and that's what I always felt about Ballard. He tried to win the press conference. We got Ngakoue. Oh, wow, great. Look at Kwity Paye's story. Oh, wow, great. We got Carson Wentz back, and we got all these guys. Oh, wow,
Rock
great.
Yassin wrestled.
Yeah, honest to God. And it works here in Indy because your
Yeah.
boy Doyle will write 15 articles. Now, there's already been about the greatness of Anthony Richardson. All right. But there are a lot of towns that would say, love Anthony Richardson, love where he's going. However,
And we know what Greg does.
I know.
Greg writes the good one to give him license to write the bad
Right,
one
right,
so
right.
that when they come at him, he's like, look, I'm fair.
Right.
I've got this. I've got that. We know what he's doing.
But it's disingenuous. But it
Always.
works here in Indy.
Right.
It absolutely works here in Indy. And it works because, well, it's working less because you and I are on a show now that's going to blow up as soon as football starts. It's going to be massive, and you all are going to wish and we'll thank you for being on the ground floor of this greatness. And by the way, subscribe and like right
Always
freaking
subscribe.
now. But the truth of the matter is, everybody's not great.
No.
And in the NFL, I believe, this is just me, I believe you really got to be honest. And if that means critical, fine. But you got to be honest because the NFL seems to go quicker than any freaking league. And if you try to bullshit your readership or you try to bullshit the fan base, they immediately know you're full of shit because we see the next game real quick. Oh man, it's so great. Super Bowl blueprint against Minnesota a few years ago. You're playing 2 days later, you get your ass beaten. You're like, how stupid. You can bullshit them in baseball and basketball. It's long season.
And you can do it nationally because
Sure.
you got 32
Sure.
targets.
Yeah.
Skip Bayless does really well nationally. Skip Bayless failed out of a lot of markets as a print guy, Chicago
Sure.
among them, where they
Dallas.
realize this guy's just full of crap.
Right.
Everything he says is nonsense. He said this last week, and you can't do that in Chicago, and you shouldn't be able to do it here. Hold people accountable to that stuff.
Yeah, and but the NFL just happens quick. So you overreact and you say someone's great. Well, the next day, the thing should be you respond to how people played, but you don't elevate based on a week or two. You respond, hey man, he was great this week. Blah 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 blah. That's great, and you say why he was great. But you don't all of a sudden elevate to this level, and that's what we do in Indy. Win a game against Minnesota, Super Bowl. Ballard talks nice to the media. Greatest roster. Drafted a good draft. I'm not gonna lie, Jonathan Taylor was a really good pick. Pittman's been an okay pick, right?
Yep.
Quentin Nelson's been fine. I mean, better nationally than locally. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, 6th overall pick for a guard's crazy.
Stupid.
But that said.
But Darius Leonard, good. I mean,
It's not personal
No,
when we
it's
talk
not.
about these
No.
guys. I like Shaquille Leonard a lot.
I like Shaquille Leonard,
He
yeah.
is a wonderful guy.
Yeah.
Quentin Nelson doesn't like to talk to the media, and I love that because he's not pandering.
Right.
And there are guys who, where are the lights? Where's the camera? There are guys like that in there, not so many, but those guys drive me a little bit crazy.
Last thing. So the NFL made the Jets do Hard Knocks. They made them because there's only 4 teams that were eligible.
Yeah.
I don't know if you knew. There's all this criteria. I looked it up. There's 4
Yeah.
teams. So
It's
they said
interesting.
it is.
Yeah.
I think this could be the best Hard Knocks that we've seen, at least since I've been watching. I can't go back and tell you. I thought Hugh Jackson being a complete idiot was
with John Dorsey.
unbelievable.
That whole thing,
Yeah.
the hug thing and all that shit. I was like, oh no, everybody's getting fired.
It was personal to me. One night, Pete Thamel, the writer, Urban Meyer, and I had 8 million beers during the combine, and we all drank them in. Urban had them in a Starbucks cup. I mean, a mess. I had to Uber home, the whole deal. We just sat there laughing and drinking, and different coaches were coming up, and Hugh Jackson came up. And I remember telling both Thamel and Urban, I go, that's Hugh Jackson? I go, like, everybody talks about, he's an idiot. Like, that is a stone effing idiot. So fast forward a couple years later, Hugh Jackson is doing that thing with John Dorsey, and I'm like,
Yeah.
Urban, there's our boy. I told you he was an idiot. But
That show is horrible for coaches.
Oh.
Coaches should never allow that show in, ever. It exposes them. They know what they're doing. HBO is really good at presenting narratives and understanding how to condense like this
Yes.
much into that much reality, and show like Joe Philbin.
Yes.
When he was with the Dolphins, I
Yeah.
was like, holy shit,
Every-
guy has no business in that position.
my friend Reggie Jones and I would literally be texting what an idiot Mike Smith was on the Atlanta Falcons. Like, hey, Reggie would hit me with, your boy's talking again.
He fired a kid that grew up with Ryan on camera in Hard Knocks.
Oh, he did?
I hated it. Yeah, a kid named Brian Wozniak, who was a backup tight end. He went to Wisconsin, and now he's recruiting coordinator and tight ends coach at Oregon State.
Oh, wow.
Wonderful kid.
Yeah.
And I had to watch Brian's dream end. I hated that.
Well,
What are you gonna do?
but I think
that's
that
the show.
I think Aaron Rodgers, Robert Saleh, I think Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner. Sauce Gardner will be like Darius Leonard for that show, right? He'll be out in front of everybody, the cornerback. Rodgers will be I don't know. I'm anxious. You know what I'm interested with Rodgers? I think we live in a third world country. I mean, you drive down the street of Indy, everybody's smoking weed. People throwing garbage. People taking their shoes off, putting their feet up in play. People coming into grocery stores without freaking shirts. And we live in a third world country. And to make it even more of a third world country, we just shoot each other on the street and leave body. That's third world. But Rodgers wants psychedelic drugs legal.
Yeah.
At what point do we say, hold on a second here? Like, I've had cops tell me, like, look, we're really not supposed to pull people over for smoking weed, but they're impaired.
Yeah.
So you're going to drop acid legally, get in the car, get on the freeway? Come on, Aaron Rodgers. I mean, enough's enough.
You know, I went to the Dead and Company concert last night
Did
up
you?
at for like 2 songs. Julie's out
Yeah.
of town, so we've got the lawn passes, so I bomb up for like 2 songs and bomb home. That crowd, I didn't see anybody get shot. They were dancing recklessly, running oddly, all incredibly out of shape, all smoking something. It was. That's all I could think. I thought this is what a third world country would be like if it was really, really crowded into one place and we had great music.
Yeah.
I would not do that.
No.
Because there in everything there's good. Like with pot,
some good, yeah.
CBD, you get pain relief from it. There's a good thing, a good aspect to it.
Yeah.
But there are those who are going to abuse. And psychedelics being abused is not going to lead us to a happy place. We're not smart enough to kind of make it work.
The whole world goes back to 2 shows, Seinfeld and Wolf of Wall Street. And when when Leonardo DiCaprio and what's his face, oh God, who's the guy that plays the guy with
Jonah
the
Hill.
Yeah. When they took those lemon drops, and next thing you know, Leonardo DiCaprio is the greatest acting I've ever seen. Has a cerebral palsy, they called it, I guess, resolved. I guess what they called it. That's me. I'll tell you, I watch something like that, and I'm like, yeah, I don't trust me on. I know what I feel like on beer. I don't really trust me on whiskey. I love my Moon Drops because it's not 80% alcohol or whatever. He texted you earlier.
That'd be a treat.
What station's
you
docket's
people.
going to? I saw a
I had a
tweet.
guy at GCL ask me that yesterday.
Yeah, I put it out. We had a meeting. We'll see what happens. But anyway, I don't want to wake up in a pile of, like in a jail with hookers or over a fence or falling down,
no.
and because I did something that I don't know.
If I wind up behind bars somehow, I want to be able to remember exactly what it is I'm responsible for doing.
And be able to defend myself in any way, because that's what you do when you're behind.
Or admit the guilt.
Okay, or admit the guilt, yes.
I screwed up.
Nobody got killed? What? But
Yeah.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
I don't want to wake up. Sometimes,
You get that feeling? Like, oh.
yeah. You wake up at 2 a.m, and I wake up at 2 a.m. with Catholic guilt no matter what. Like, I'll be like, oh my God, I can't believe I said
I do the same thing.
God damn.
But it's for shit that happened like 18 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, oh God, I never should have fired Don Hauser. What was I thinking? God damn it, I know I rehired him, but I still wake up thinking about it.
When I do that, I think to myself, somebody said this. Somebody was accused in the whole Me Too. It was recent though. It was like a year ago. Somebody said it was really good. Well, 9 years ago you did this, or 10 years ago you did this. And the guy's like, wait a second. You don't have to go 9 or 10 years back. I did dumber shit than that 2 years ago. And I thought,
do your research. What's the matter with you people?
Yeah. So when I wake up, I think to myself, oh man, you're right. I wish I hadn't yelled at those players so much. I do. I think that all the time. Wait a second. I was dumber than that a month ago. Screw it. No, I do.
If you went back, would you be different, or would
I
you
was different when I went to
lapse back into
Indiana.
the?
No,
Were
I went.
you?
Yeah. Yeah, I made up my mind. 2 things when I went back to coach Indiana. I wasn't going to be yelling, screaming at referees or players, and this wasn't going to kill me. Like, if they don't give me the job, I don't care. But I did lapse a couple times. Once when Jamarcus Ellis challenged me, waved me off against Minnesota, I had to take off my shirt and fight in the locker room. And then when DJ White wanted to fight at halftime of the Arkansas game, because I'd had enough. And I just went batshit crazy. And DJ White stood up, and I said, "All right, what do you want to do?" I don't give a shit. And DJ White was a pussy. He wasn't going to fight nobody. But so those are the only two times. Eric Gordon later said, well, I wish he would have fought Dawkins. Yeah, shut up. That's the whole Indiana thing. And the Indiana thing's making me nuts. I wish I would have. I could have. Well, shut up. Just shut up and go play. The whole place. Seriously. Football. Shut the fuck up about Leo and go play some football and win a game.
Yeah.
Basketball. You know who shuts up? I'll tell you who shuts up. You want to know who shuts up?
Who?
I'll tell you who shuts up. Frickin' women's basketball.
Yep.
And you know who else shuts up
Yep.
and was really fun to watch? I'll tell you, Indiana baseball. Baseball, enthusiastic. The coach doesn't fucking yap. The coach isn't trying to be a rock star with his stogies and his shades and his black hats and all. He just, I'll tell you who else, the softball team. My stepdaughter's going to go play softball at Indiana. I'm so proud because I love Shonda, the coach. Lee actually got her high. They just shut up and win games.
Yeah.
Football, basketball, you got daddies, you got players. Just shut the fuck up and win a game. Basketball. And I'm not talking about against Army.
Right.
Win a fucking game, football. Leo, love you, blah, 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 blah. Shut the.
Yeah, I can get about enough of that.
Sorry, that was a rant.
You're right.
Your wife said that the best parts of me come out with you. That might have been the worst part of it.
I don't think so. I think you're 100% right. And you're right about the women's basketball team. I was looking forward to watching them play more than I was the men. I love watching them play. I like Mackenzie Holmes a lot.
Yes.
And it all started for me with like watching Allie Patberg, who when she's upset, she looks like she's upset. When she's happy, she's gleeful. She's just hyper emotional in an honest and true way. And I loved it. I was like this. I'm never not watching this team if I've got the chance.
Yeah. I started with Tyra Buss. Tyra Buss, I did this game day, ESPN game day. I did Dockage game day, and it was really well attended.
Oh,
And-
yeah.
Remember that? It
Yeah.
was on local station.
Yep.
So Tyra was the freshman, the star, whatever. And she comes, couldn't have been cooler. Couldn't have been, she's like the national player of the year and whatever. Couldn't have been funner. Her whole family was awesome. I said, look, I'm going to have a guy go out for a pass. You mind throwing him a football? She threw a football from here, damn near to Zionsville. And she reminded me of my wife. And I'm like, all right, I'm down with this crew.
Yeah.
And so I've kind of been following them. And obviously, we all follow as you win.
Right.
Right. And
Yeah, we're not following 9 and
No,
9 and
I don't
24.
care if you threw a football like, But it's one of those deals where just shut the fuck up and win.
Yeah.
Like, honest to God, and I know it's hard at Indiana basketball because you have so many media outlets, so many media requests, all that. I get all that, I do. But at some point, Woodson, be a freaking guy like I told Dolson you were. Cut with the cigars and the being so cool. Just coach your fucking team and coach everybody in that organization to just be about winning, and you'll be fine. And everybody will have a brand. Everybody has a brand.
Subscribe. Let's go.
Subscribe, and we'll be back.
Next week. Can't wait.
Yeah, but when football starts,
Hey, follow me on Twitter.
please, what's
You
the
out of your
Twitter
mind?
again?
Oh, God.
Sterling,
Sterling, KE, five numbers. If you can guess those 5 numbers.
I got a Kilroy's. No, last thing, hold on.
Yeah.
And send that guy, what's his name? Who took your Twitter?
Oh, the Beast? Mr. Beast
Yeah,
or whatever?
tell him to go himself, will you
Yeah.
please?
Come on.